it's difficult to keep up with the world these days. Things are happening so quickly and right on cue, as we always expect them to. You know, if people don't think Putin is part of the club, well, just the fact that he's invaded Ukraine should demonstrate something to the contrary. All sorts of people are jumping on board now and saying there's all sorts of reasons for this, folks. It's taking down the deep state. Putin is attacking biolabs. This is one of the reports that's coming out. Putin is attacking biolabs in the Ukraine, attacking US biolabs because Putin blames the United States for bioengineering COVID-19. What a load of shit, folks. What a load of absolute crap. It just keeps the narrative going, folks, keeps people in fear. And of course, suddenly, no one's talking about truck protests. No one's talking about truck convoys. No one's talking about the action people are taking. Everyone's terrified of World War III. Right on cue, folks. This is how they do things all the time. Just keep people distracted. See, they're, rolling things back in the UK and all this sort of stuff. Suddenly the politicians, Bojo and Trudeau and all these people will appear as our friends because they're trying to protect us. The world's gone crazy, folks. The world's gone completely crazy. But it's so predictable, all this shit. It's so predictable. The poor people in Ukraine, they're not bombing biolabs, folks. A friend of mine's ex-girlfriend, who is Ukrainian, has fled to Poland. And she's informed us that a lot of her friends are now hiding in bomb shelters. Pretty drastic stuff going on there, folks. And no, it isn't Putin taking down the deep state. Just more theatre, folks, more distraction. And of course, while it's been happening, in the United States, they are rolling out smart health passes. Many states are picking up on it. Just while people aren't looking, while things just appear to be going back to normal, they're rolling out all this shit in the meantime. The smart grid, folks, they're doing it in Australia as well. They've even got smart buses. They're trialling smart electric buses on the Gold Coast. So they'll be able to disable your vehicle whenever they want. Of course, you won't be able to travel long distances. You're only going to be able to go to places where there's electrical charges for your cars. This is all about control. Everything they do is about control. Even going into Ukraine, something you've got to understand about governments, folks, is that no government is your friend. Everything governments do, any government, any action they take, ultimately is about giving themselves more control. That's all governments do. Governments are there to interfere with the people and to prevent them living their lives to the fullest that they could be, to control their moves, to keep them poor, to keep them under control by any means possible. Usually under the guise of protecting them, but it's never about protecting you. And the heartlessness of these people is phenomenal. The amount of disrespect they're prepared to show for people is just phenomenal. Something else that's being rolled out in the background while not a lot of people are looking. It's an international treaty in pandemic prevention and preparedness. This is being rolled out by the European Council. They want everybody to sign on to this, and this is going to be all UN and NATO countries, basically. They want to sign on to this agreement, this pandemic preparedness agreement, which again is all about control. Everything the government does is about control. And this is next level stuff, folks. If they sign on to this, they're basically signing all of your human rights away and signing you over to control by the World Health Organization. It's going to bypass all our governments. And governments are losing control anyway. They're realizing how little power they actually have. It's been brilliant seeing what's happened in Canada. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but it's also shown how much control the people have and how easy we can get the governments running scared. Trudeau is doing some pretty drastic things, freezing people's bank accounts. There was a woman, a single mother, donated $50 to the trucker campaign, and she got her bank account frozen. A lot of people had their accounts frozen, and the result has been an enormous bank run in Canada. People have been just going to the banks and drawing all their money out because they're afraid that the government can freeze their accounts at any time, which of course they can. stuff we've been telling you about for ages. This is the plan of these people, folks. Total control in every way, shape and form that they can get it. So people have been running and pulling their money out, and Trudeau has actually had to roll back the Emergency Act and say, oh, well, we're not going to do it now, because the banks that were contacting him freaking out that they were about to collapse because everyone's drawing all their money out because they're freaking out that Trudeau's going to steal it. So it kind of backfired on them in many ways, which is good. Shows just how much control we have. So I just wanted to touch on the whole Ukraine thing, you know, how they're flipping the narrative away from COVID and onto World War III to keep people distracted. And again, the disinformation and hopium out there saying, oh, it's Putin taking out the US biolabs. What a load of shit, folks. It's Putin playing his role. You know, paved the way for the One Belt, One Road thing that they want to do, the One Belt, One Road agreement that China's been trying to roll out and Russia's involved in and Israel's involved in and everybody's involved in. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, folks. It's all leading towards the same direction and always has been. Different ways of playing it. Different theatrics that work for different folks, and that's what they do. But the real concern is this push by the European Council to have this pandemic treaty signed. That's what this is all about. We've really got to pay attention to what's going on, and we've really got to see this as an opportunity to step into our own power. I mean, just the fact that they're doing this, the fact that all these governments are working together, I mean, how can you trust these people? You can't. I mean, everything they've done should show you that they just cannot be trusted. We're at a turning point in history, and we've got to be careful which way it turns. We've got to be careful which way we take it, which way we play it. So we've got to take this opportunity, folks, and we've got to turn things to what we want them to be. That's what we have to do.